Welcome to the Configure Price Quote podcast. My name is Frank Sohn and I'm the founder of No CPQ Consulting. This podcast is 100% focused on Configure Price Quote, also known as CPQ, and will provide you useful insights into this topic. My guest today is Martin Spritzer, the founder and CEO of iQuoteXpress, a company that offers a CPQ solution for multiple industries. Martin has 20 plus years of business experience and founded iQuoteXpress in 2009. The company is headquartered in Studio City, California, that's in the Los Angeles area, and has around 20 employees. Welcome, Martin, to the CPQ podcast.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
Very excited to have you, Martin. And let's maybe start by telling us a little bit more about yourself and what you did before you founded iQuoteXpress in 2009.
Sure. So unlike many of your past guests, Frank, I'm not a software industry insider. My background is more in the sales and marketing side of things. I actually had an experience of leading international sales organizations, mostly in electronic security and retail automation type of industries before iQuote.
I think practical experience in the sales industry is very beneficial, right? And I think two of your co-founders were also salespeople. So tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Yes, sorry, that's absolutely correct, Frank. So we formed a sales organization, and as you know, necessity is the mother of all invention, or whatever that saying is. So iQuote was really born out of necessity in that regard. Really, the genesis of iQuote was due to the amount of difficulty our sales teams were having, both our internal and our external sales teams, to create, their proposals in a fast and accurate manner. So, given the fact that we had a set of very large and complex products and services to configure, it was really keeping our sales force from acting as efficiently as possible. So we realized that we needed to use technology to help fix this problem.
Excellent. I mean, right now you have been in this space for quite a while, right? So you have sales experience before you even started that. What is for you personally the most exciting part of being in the CPQ space at this time?
Yeah, so I think the CPQ industry is, really exciting right now because it's kind of flipped on its head by all the advances in cloud technology, artificial intelligence. All sorts of data analytics and process automation has made it a real sweet spot right now. So for me, it's really exciting to see that some of the changes in technology have enabled sales organizations to close more business is really what it boils down to.
And I guess one thing you probably see also is there is quite some interest in CPQ solutions these days from the investment community. So I expect that you see a lot of interest in that as well. How much interest do you see at this time?
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, Frank. For a long time, iQuote has been one of the CPQ industry's best kept secrets. We kind of have flown underneath the radar screen, but we've begun to get noticed on those various business-to-business software evaluation sites and all the private equity firms that do their homework and research organizations in the CPQ industry. We've hit their radar screen, and we field an average of 1 to 2 calls per week as far as aligning what our goals are and what the private equity firms could potentially do for us. But we're a bootstrapped organization, and we've been so since day one.
Excellent. And before we talk about iQuoteXpress, let me ask you a question I ask every guest on the CPQ podcast for the last 1.5 to 2 years is, what do you do when you don't work?
So I live in Southern California with my family, and it's a beachfront community. So I'm an avid surfer. So that really is something that I like to do for both the physical and mental benefits, and also enjoy exercising and hiking and all the fruits of Southern California. That's actually a big part of my lifestyle down here.
Very cool. I have to ask you one question since I lived for 10 years in Half Moon Bay in Northern California, right? So how big of the waves do you get in Southern California there?
That's funny. So it's funny you mentioned that because we've been complaining lately that the waves have been quite small. But during the month of October, November, it's very common to have waves that are head high or double overhead, which is, really provides you the adrenaline rush.
Excellent. Good. So then let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about iQuoteXpress. Please tell our listeners first in a couple of sentences what products and services iQuoteXpress offers.
Yes, Frank, we are a CPQ and we do have a lot of quote to cash feature sets, but our real focus within iQuote is the product configuration, sales catalogs, guided selling, those types of approaches that you'd find within a CPQ provider.
I think you're also doing something in regards to pricing and e-commerce, right?
Absolutely. We've been spending a lot of time on the e-commerce lately, basically ensuring that we have a single rules engine between our e-commerce and CPQ platform, which speaks to the convergence of the B2B and B2C world. That's been a big focus of ours as of late.
And how much demand do you see for these capabilities right now after the pandemic? I would expect it has increased quite a bit since then.
It really has. I mean, you hate to select any sort of silver lining from a global catastrophe and a health crisis like the pandemic, but it certainly has given us a shot in the arm as many sales organizations have really strived to automate their process and give their sales team as many digital and electronic tools as possible. So it's been really good for business.
Now, what industries and geographical areas are you targeting at the moment?
So as far as geographies go, we are a global organization. We have clients on 6 continents. And if anyone's listening in Antarctica and needs to configure a below freezing weather station, I'm sure we could help out with that as well. But yes, we are a global organization, Frank. Most of our business is concentrated in the Americas, North and South America, but we do have a very rapidly growing presence in Europe, Australia, and the continent of Africa as well.
And what industries are you focusing on? Is that across the board, or you have specific industries where you're especially strong?
Well, we have clients in many different industries, but we do have about 5 or 6 vertical markets that we are especially strong in. And it's really a testament to how we've been able to provide a very specific solution set to the problems in these industries. And really for us, we kind of have more of a rifle shot approach where we focus on a specific customer industry, and we're very targeted on how we provide that solution.
And what industries are these? When you mentioned the 5 or 6, can you tell us what industries these are?
Absolutely. So commercial exercise equipment, modular housing, furniture, security, electronic security such as closed circuit television and access control, IT and telephony products. Those are some of the major ones that we work in now.
Excellent. And what customer size do you target there?
Most of our clients fall within the SMB range, but we do have a few enterprise level Fortune 500 type of clients within our customer base. So our average is probably about a 20 seat client, but we do have very large and also very small clients as well.
And what are the key capabilities these customers expect from your solution for the industries that you had mentioned?
So most of our clients, even if they are a large opportunity, they're kind of coming to us from using an Excel file to begin their proposal creation process. And you'd be amazed, or maybe you wouldn't, about how many sales organizations are still using Microsoft Office type of technology to create the sales proposal. So that's what we're inheriting at that point. And for us, what we like to do is we like to really understand what the business rules are, how the operations work, and really the types of benefits we could provide. So we really dig into a lot of the contract life cycle management, sales enablement, the complete stack of technology that they're using, if any, and really kind of tailor-made a proposal management system within that.
And now I want to go back on something you mentioned earlier that you already offer, connecting to an e-commerce solution. And also I wanted to ask you about subscriptions. Can you tell us a little bit more about these requirements that you see from your customers?
Sure, absolutely. So as I mentioned, the convergence of B2B and B2C is really a big focus in our industry. And for us in particular, what we envision is a business to consumer perspective client is able to begin, say, a product configuration on a website that becomes a new deal within the CPQ platform, which enables in turn the sales resource to pick things up from there and begin their part of the CPQ process.
Now, tell us a little bit about the company culture at iQuoteXpress. So the company has 20 people. You're around since 2009. Are all the people in your geographic area, are they spread across the whole US or globally even? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. I'd like to think of us as kind of a United Nations. We have people from all sorts of backgrounds and all sorts of age groups and ethnic identities and so forth. We have a good number of our folks in the Los Angeles area. As you mentioned, we have our director of sales in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have a large operations and support team based in Panama City, Panama. So we do have kind of this multicultural identity at iQuote.
And what do you consider the most exciting growth opportunity for iQuoteXpress in the next 12 months or so, and why?
I'm really keeping my eye on the AI technologies, Frank. I think that's going to be a big growth driver for our industry in general. I feel like AI-based deal intelligence, predictive analytics, pricing models, intelligent pricing, rules logic, all those things that AI can assist with is really going to be a game changer for the CPQ industry.
And let me ask one question over here regarding artificial intelligence, machine learning. So lots of CRM solutions, which are typically connected to a CPQ solution, they have their own artificial intelligence, machine learning solution. Now, are you trying to sell a separate solution, or you first try to get your customers to use whatever artificial intelligence, machine learning they have with their CRM solution?
So if we have a customer that has an existing AI-based CRM, we generally use that as kind of let's call it the center spoke of the wheel, where that actually feeds information back to iQuoteXpress. We do take a crawl, walk, run approach with our clients. So for us to take a customer who's using Excel to generate a proposal and then go to all the AI capabilities and machine learning, I think it's a bit of a stretch. So we would generally at that point use some of the CRM functionalities to generate the AI, but we do have quite a few rules logic and kind of guardrails set up within our embedded sales insights to provide some assistance to the sales team within iQuote. So it's really a combination of the two, and that's a great question, Frank, because we do have a lot of clients that do have some sort of AI feature within their CRM, and we're trying to determine what is the best course of action for them, either to generate the machine learning and AI triggers through their CRM or through their CPQ, or a combination of the two.
And where is AI machine learning most helpful for your customers? Is that for pricing, for product configuration, or where in general is it most helpful?
I think a lot of it is helpful in a few different categories. One is kind of analyzing sales patterns. I would say suggesting data, recommending maybe the best time to contact a client based upon the times that the client is opening and reading proposals, which time is optimum to actually send a proposal out. Those are some of the specific areas that AI we found to be helpful for our customer base.
And who is implementing iQuoteXpress? Do you do that yourself, or you work with system integrators?
So I'd say 9 out of every 10 are implemented ourselves. We have a complete implementation team internally, and generally we're kind of handling all of the implementation of the environment from A to Z ourselves. But we do have an external sales team that is made up of consultants within our industry that generally like to take on a certain number of these internal functions themselves. But for the most part, we are actually performing the task. If we do have the right fit with the right consultant working on behalf of iQuote for the project, we give them the support and the latitude to go ahead and deploy internally.
And what kind of off-the-shelf integrations with other solutions does iQuoteXpress offer? So I'm talking here about integrations to CRM, ERP, PLM solutions, and so on.
So iQuote has integrations with many of the prominent CRM and ERP sales platforms and business operation platforms that many of your listeners are familiar with, whether they be Salesforce or Zoho or Oracle. We also have integrations with HubSpot, with Microsoft Dynamics, with Outlook, with Gmail. A lot of the platforms that any sales or operations team will be using on a day-to-day basis. We have, in many cases, a single sign-on type of integration with those platforms.
Novo CPQ Consulting helps you with all CPQ related questions. For example, we help customers to find the best CPQ solution for their business, and we help customers analyze their current business process to determine if and where CPQ can help. Here it's important to point out that we are 100% independent and always look out for our customers first. This means for us also that we don't get paid by any CPQ vendor for providing them new customers or for any other services. We are focused on our customers and always provide the best available information to them. We also help system integrators to improve their services, and we offer the only CPQ industry subscription that provides monthly CPQ news and trends. We have many other services, so check it out today at novocpq.com. Send me an email to frank.sohn@novocpq.com to learn how we can help you with your CPQ questions, and keep us in mind when you look for 100% impartial CPQ advice. One question which seems to become more interesting for more CPQ customers is the CPQ data analytics. I just wonder, how important is that for your customers today? How do they use it, and how has it changed over the last 2 to 3 years?
There has been a big change, especially since the amount of remote sales teams have been implemented over the past few years. So we do have a large requirement for data analytics in the form of reporting and intelligent reporting. A lot of that's generated by product, by sales resource, by region, by geography, and all that type of programming and reporting could kind of be fed back into a operations team for demand planning and ERP planning as well. I think for us, the big driver is to understand quite clearly what are the demands and what are the requirements of each specific client, and then we could have the reporting automatically generated and distributed based upon each customer's needs.
And then one thing I want to come back to is also related to subscriptions. What we mentioned earlier is what kind of different integration requirements you see now that subscriptions become more and more popular with customers.
Yes, Frank, that's an excellent point. So what we've noticed recently are the requirement for CPQ applications to be able to improve how discounts and price agreements and subscriptions and markups really get reflected in the final price and margin for each deal. So for us, we really need to understand what those workflows look like internally for our clients and really set up the guardrails so each specific deal complies with the margin requirements and the subscription notifications that each client would have.
And talking about workflow, you have workflow capabilities in the tool as well, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And what kind of capabilities you have there? You have serial approvals, parallel approvals, anything else worth noting that's important to a lot of your customers here?
You had mentioned a few. So it's really the approval process and whatever business rules are determined by our clients. Some of them are very easy. They're margin-based. Some of them are based upon the overall size or volume of a particular project. And some of our clients like our workflows to be rule-based on the specific client and geography. So some of them are even a combination of all 4 or 5.
And what's an important question for every customer is typically how long is a project? I know it's a kind of an unfair question because every project could be different, depends on the requirements. But when you look at an average kind of project that you have in mind, let's maybe start there. What's the average length of a typical project for iQuoteXpress?
The average length is generally within 2 to 6 months. And I know that's a wide gap, and maybe I chickened out by giving myself some wiggle room there, Frank. But we do have projects that we're able to deploy in less than 30 days. Those are projects that are a lot of clear communication between us and the client, and there's no gaps as far as receiving information. But we do have very complex projects that we deploy that require us to create very specific configuration tools, very specific new integration pathways, and those generally take longer, upwards to 5 and 6 months.
And what do you tell these customers what they should do to prepare for a project with you and your team?
That's all distributed within our kickoff call with our client, where we have a very, very clear communication protocol with our clients so they understand roles and responsibilities. They understand exactly what they're responsible for. We're very diligent about memorializing communication methods and really having a very clear check-in process with our customer. It's given us an ability to really make sure that the ball's in their court at all times. And that's really the important part that we take into consideration.
And CPQ projects are not always straightforward and simple, right? So, and some don't work exactly the way they were planned. Hence, my question is, what are the most common challenges that you have experienced with your CPQ's customers since 2009?
Sure. Some of the challenges that we've seen are, you have clients that have requests for multiple price lists, multiple currencies, 50,000 or more SKUs, products that are optional versus products that are required, combinations for upsells and additional services on top of the product configuration. So there's really an opportunity to kind of layer a lot of different complexities in to create the CPQ environment that works best for our customers.
And then just one question to understand the complexity that you typically handle a little bit better. What's the largest number of rules that your customers typically process, or the number of pricing records that they upload without having any performance impact?
Yeah, and that's a great point, because we do have clients that come to us and say, gosh, we have 75,000 SKUs. Is it going to take a long time to generate a proposal? What is that going to look like? And we have not found a limitation in the ability for us to create a very fast and accurate proposal using an unlimited number of SKUs. So unfortunately, I don't have a great answer for you, Frank, but like I said, we do have clients that we have at least 7 or 8 clients that are above the 50,000 SKU threshold, and those clients of ours are generating very fast and accurate proposals, an integral part of their day-to-day sales and operations.
And one key thing for every CPQ solution is obviously the maintenance, right? So you add more materials, you add more features to it and so on. They need to be set up. Does the majority of your customers rely on you to have these updated and added, or do they add their own administrators who add these rules over time?
So most of our clients have an administrator that are in charge of updating pricing or updating catalog images or anything like that. Then we are generally brought in for advanced projects, such as enabling a new integration pathway, or to create a new workflow or a new pricing optimization schedule. So there's really some advanced functionality that I think we'll always be tasked with, but we like to make our customers as self-sufficient as possible. So we do focus heavily on an advanced administration training to enable our clients to make changes as they see fit.
And what kind of resources maintain the solution? Are these more IT resources or more business resources?
Mostly they're business resource, and you would think it'd be the opposite. You would think they'd be IT resources, but generally it's more of a sales operational type of role.
And how important are omni-channel capabilities for your customers? Meaning here, so you're selling via your sales team, you're selling via channel partners like distributors, resellers, and so on, and you also sell online on your own e-commerce stores or marketplace and so on.
Omnichannel is a big focus of ours. Actually, we started a new division within iQuoteXpress recently to focus on the requirements of e-commerce, the B2B and B2C convergence that we've seen. So for us, the omnichannel capability as far as our customers' opportunity to purchase products, fulfillment, and so forth is really a big part of our focus now. What we found is that there's tremendous requirements for our internal CPQ to act as kind of the bridge between the ERP and the quote to cash side of the business to make sure that the omnichannel solution is kind of fulfilled from A to Z.
And I think some of the industries that you mentioned a little bit earlier is typically interested also in some visual CPQ. Are your customers interested in visual CPQ? And if so, what kind of visual CPQ do they want to have?
We have seen some requests for kind of creating 2D, 3D, and kind of AR models in the quoting and workflow. We have also seen a lot of requests for BOM, for bill of materials, to be part of the CPQ process, and we've addressed those with our clients. For us, I think what we need to understand is, what makes the most sense for our customer, what takes them down the road to help automate their business. So those are all key components.
And how often do your customers ask for additional CPQ capabilities like billing, Internet of Things, and so on?
So certainly I feel that billing is a key component of the quote to cash process that we like to deliver to our clients. And for us, the Internet of Things could potentially represent some interesting enhancements and design opportunities down the road. But currently, we really don't have that level of demand. So we're really focusing our efforts and programming resources on more of the AI technology.
Perfect. Now, one thing I guess is important for every vendor and also for some customers is how you're getting rated or reviewed online, right? So there are two general options here. One is by analysts, and that could be a Gartner, Forrester, IDC, and so on. Online could be Capterra or G2. How important are these sites for you, and how do you use them?
They're very important for us. Actually, we've are really delighted to see our growing footprint on G2 and Capterra and some of those other sites. We have a lot of recognition that we've been granted due to those analysts over the past year. So that's how a lot of our new clients are finding us, actually. So those are really powerful sites for us as far as to identify different opportunities for us and really to promote our brand.
Excellent. And the larger analysts, is that something that's interesting for your customers, or is that less interesting?
That's probably less interesting at this point, but I'm sure if we speak a few months down the line, that may change.
Okay, excellent. So very interesting. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of this episode. Hence, my last question is, what's a good way for interested listeners to contact you in case they have any follow-up questions for you or your team?
Of course, I'd love for anybody to contact us. If they're good old-fashioned telephone users, you could certainly contact us at 818-765-3149 or at any point, sales@iQuoteXpress.com.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Martin, for making time for the CPQ podcast today.
Thank you as well, Frank. I really appreciate the time.
I'd like to thank everyone for listening and hope you learned something interesting today. If you like the podcast, please go ahead and rate it on iTunes or share it with your friends and colleagues. In the meantime, you can find us online at www.novocpq.com. So long, everyone.